All right, so today I wanted to make my election predictions, obviously the election being tomorrow. Briefly, I think I'll go over the Canadian implications, at least my beliefs on the Canadian implications, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So the first thing being is that, I mean, let's think about it as far as Canada goes. If Biden wins, I think it will affect Canada. I think it'll be pretty much a wash. I think there'll be good things and there'll be bad things. I think it's still mostly bad because if Biden wins, number one, the states moves way to the left, way to the left, or at the very least they drift left, and I think that'll have a negative impact on Canada. And here's the thing too, like people think that Trump is bad for Canada because Trump is such a hardline America first guy, but on the flip side, that also helps Canada in some ways in that many people, I mean, number one being many people in Canada have money invested in the US, right? So if Trump wins, the stock market's going to do better than if Biden wins. If Biden wins, I don't think it'll be a complete crash like a lot of people think. But and here's the thing too is that the Fed won't allow the stock market to crash. They won't allow the economy to suffer too much. They'll just pump it full of as much stimulus as they need to keep it afloat, right? So I don't think the economy will suffer too much either way. I think it'll do decent if Trump wins. It'll be pretty much a wash if Biden wins. I think it'll be the U.S. economy will look comparable to Canada's if Biden wins, in that they will start to go after the energy sector in the same way Canada has. And I think that'll hurt them a lot. I mean, Biden's already talked about banning fracking. Will he do it? I don't know, because I don't think he actually believes in it. But the problem is that if he does get elected, there's going to be a very hard push for them to do it. And I think he's the kind of guy that's enough of a pushover that he'll allow it to happen. So if Trump, I still think it's better for Canada if Trump wins, honestly, because especially Alberta and Saskatchewan, because if Trump wins, the economy's gonna it's gonna be decent, um, assuming we can get past this whole virus situation, which is questionable, but I still think it'll be decent. Um, and it'll help out Alberta and Saskatchewan to some degree because it's going to continue to show Canada that oil and gas is not a dead industry. It's not going to be for any time soon. It's going to be at least, I would say, at least 20 years before we see the demand for oil go down. And OPEC has even came out and said that. So I think you could see another oil boom at some point within the next decade. And if Alberta isn't a part of it, it's going to make the Liberals in Canada look really stupid, really stupid. So that's something to look out for. Now, again, Trump is a bit of a hardliner on trade, but here's the thing: even if Biden gets elected, you honestly expect Justin Trudeau or Chrystia Freeland or one of these kind of people, you know, negotiating these killer trade deals with the states? Like, of course not. Like, that's not. It's never going to happen. You think Justin Trudeau is going to come up with a really good deal? Like, of course not. So if Trump wins, they may take advantage of us on trade. But here's the thing: we have no leverage. Like, we have no leverage. So I think Trump winning is still better for Canada. I think it's still better for Canada. If Biden wins, I think it's bad for everyone because the economy is not going to do anything, and they're going to move further and further left, which I think is going to hurt Canada as well because our economy is more tied to them than the other way around. And I mean, it's not even close, right? It's not even close. So if they suffer, we suffer. And if they benefit, we benefit to some degree as well. So I think that's why it's better if Trump wins for Canada. Now, getting into my election map here, I did make this one myself. I have Trump at 295, Biden at 243. As far as the swing states go, um, I mean, you have Arizona as one. I think it's probably going to go Biden, but I mean, it could go Trump. If it goes Trump, that's 306. Um, Florida is another big one. I think that one's going to go Trump. I think that one's going to be, um, even though people still consider it a swing state, I think it's going to be Trump by a pretty good margin. North Carolina is another swing state. I think that one's going to go Trump as well. Virginia could be an unexpected Trump win. That could be one that he swings that no one's expecting him to swing. Iowa, I think Trump wins that one fairly comfortably. Wisconsin, I think Trump wins that one as well. Minnesota's one that Trump could possibly flip, although I kind of doubt it, but it is possible. Michigan, um, another one I think Trump will win for the simple reason being too is if you look at Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Biden is ahead in every one of those states. But if you look back to 2016, he's ahead by less than what Clinton was ahead by, right? Like he's ahead by less in Michigan and Pennsylvania for sure. I don't know about the other ones than what Clinton was. So I think Trump's going to win all of those. I think Trump wins Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio. Those are all swing states. Those are the big swing states. I mean, New Mexico, maybe. Nevada is considered a swing state as well, but I think Biden wins that one still. Um, New Hampshire, I think it's possible Trump swings that. I don't expect him to swing any of these other ones on the East Coast, but um, so that's what I have, and then that's what I have. And here's the one prediction I have. I think Pennsylvania is probably the make or break state. If there's one state that decides the election, I think it would be Pennsylvania. And given the fact that Biden has um, committed to shutting down fracking and basically killing the oil industry, kind of like Trudeau's doing in Canada. I think that's going to swing a lot of votes to Trump because there's a lot of people, employed, in the industry in Pennsylvania, which is I think also going to help Trump in Ohio and Michigan, right? I think, like I say, I think Trump wins Florida more comfortably than what people think, given the fact that Biden and Harris especially are committed to moving the country more towards socialism, and the fact that considering Florida has so many Cubans there, they're kind of well aware of the negative ramifications of socialism. So yeah, I think that's going to be a safe. But if you kind of play around with it here, even if you give Biden Pennsylvania, Trump still wins. So that's something to point out. But let's say Trump wins Pennsylvania, but loses, let's say Michigan and Wisconsin. Notice that's actually a tie. So I don't even know exactly what would happen if they tie, because that clearly is possible. But let's say Trump keeps those. Let's say Biden somehow pulls out Florida, then he would win. Then he would win. So that's something to look out for. That if Biden could somehow pull out Florida, then he would definitely win. Like Florida. I would say Pennsylvania and Florida are the two most important states, followed by Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio is going to be another important one. There's rumors of Biden swinging Texas, but I don't see that happening. Although I do see that happening within the next decade or so. Arizona is one that Arizona and New Mexico are definitely in play for Trump, but I don't see it happening. Like I say, Minnesota as well, but I don't see that happening as well either. So, yeah, this is what I have 295 to 243. Now, here's the thing. Um, I could easily see Trump winning even more than this. I could see Trump winning. Like, let's look at best case scenario for Trump here. Let's look at best case scenario. Let's say he wins Virginia, he wins New Hampshire, he wins, I don't know, Arizona. That would be, I think, best case scenario for Trump. Like, that's the thing is that I would not be shocked if Trump wins by more than 100 electoral college votes. That would not surprise me one bit. Given the fact that, I mean, here's the thing. If the mainstream media wasn't so biased, if social media wasn't so biased, Trump would win even like Trump would win Minnesota, Trump would probably win New Mexico. Like this is what the election would look like if social media was actually honest and objective and the mainstream media was actually honest and objective, but given they're not, that's not going to happen. So that's best case scenario for Trump right there. And here's the thing: something like this would not surprise me if Trump does win by like 138 votes, or it wouldn't surprise me one bit. I do think that there is a decent chance of a Trump landslide. I do think that there's a chance of a landslide, but is it going to happen? No. And why isn't it going to happen? Because the mainstream media and social media are so biased. And like I say, on the flip side, why am I not confident in Biden at all? Well, number one, because he's a very weak candidate. If you actually had a strong candidate, I probably would be saying that Trump's going to lose. And here's the thing, if the mainstream media and social media were actually honest and objective, I think Trump would still win easily no matter who he was against. But if they're assuming the media is still biased, and there was a decent Democratic candidate, I think he would lose. Trump would lose. Um, but here's the other thing with Biden too. I don't see how people, all the latest stuff that's came out with him and his son's corruption, I don't see how that doesn't swing some more votes in favor of Trump. I don't see how that doesn't swing more votes in favor of Trump. I don't see how that doesn't help him out in some of these swing states. So that is best case scenario for Trump. But I mean, more realistically, um, this is probably what's going to happen here. He probably doesn't win New Hampshire. That's something I could see as well. But again, I don't see him winning Virginia either. So that's what I have. That's what I have for you. Trump 295 to Biden's 243. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Obviously, I mean, here's the other thing too: is that we may not even know the results tomorrow night like they normally would. So that's something that could be very interesting as well. That's something that could be very interesting as well. Let's hope that it is enough of a gap that they can call it for tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So, I mean, it's possible, but I think that there'll be still a lot of doubt going into tomorrow night. My prediction would be they probably don't know who's won for sure tomorrow night, but I do think that it's more likely than not that it will be safe to assume the winner tomorrow night, and that being Trump. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Twitter, BitChute, Parler. All those links are in the description. Make sure you check out. If you want to donate, you can check that out as well. And make sure you, like I say, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more.